name is Rowena Eleanor Fawn. I was born Rowena Eleanor Edelman. I was born in May 26, 1927, in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. My mother told me that I was one of the first to be born in a hospital there. My mother was a romantic, and she named me after Lady Rowena from Ivanhoe by Sir Walter Scott. And when we immigrated to Israel in 1932, so I was probably 3, 4, 5 years old, 4.5, my mother gave me my Hebrew name, Rivka, and I started to cry and I said, I don't want an old lady's name. So my mother says, well, what name do you want? And I said, Rena. So actually I went through schooling in Israel and high school as Rena, even though that was not my official name. My brother's name was Irvin Aharon Yosef Edelman. הוא היה 5 שנים יותר מבוגר ממני. When I was born a girl, they had balloons, pink balloons all over Edelman's Limited because they were so glad to have a girl. Edelman's Limited was a department store that my father and his 2 brothers, I think, owned in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. And it was called Edelman's Limited, and it's still there today, but under different ownership, naturally. My mother's name is Rose, and in Hebrew it's Rachel, Rochela in Yiddish. When she arrived in Canada, she was probably a teenager. She grew up in Saskatoon, and it was in the Midwest, in the corn country, and there were Indians in those days. That was practically at the turn of the century. My mother was a pianist, and she also was an operatic singer, not professionally, but to give concerts in Saskatoon. She was very, very talented, my mother. My father's name was Harry Edelman, but his Hebrew name was Hanoch. He was very good looking. He was over 6 feet. He was the youngest of a large family, but I don't know all of those, my father's brothers, all of them. My father adored me and my brother, and my father was extremely kind-hearted, very, very good man. He helped people. He would send men to Europe to bring women out as their wives to get them to Israel before the war, before it became very difficult to get anyone out of Poland. So he did a lot of mitzvot that way. My recollection of my dad is not that close, but I was mainly very close to my mother, very, very close to my mother. My father was a good catch because he was from a wealthy, in quotes, family. My mother was not, but she came from Yichus. Her grandfather, my mother's grandfather, was a big rabbi in Europe. So they came from Yichus, and my mother was a great beauty and very talented. And I know that she had a gorgeous, gorgeous wedding. I have a picture of their wedding. It wasn't a happy, happy marriage. They weren't compatible, you know. My mother was very interested in learning and reading and going to concerts and stuff. And my father was just a businessman.